Hello everyone, this is Angela. Welcome to my channel, AngieTheENTJ. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notifications bell so you'll know whenever I upload any new content. In this video, I want to dispel the ignorance that is often associated with a woman who is considered to be older at the time she gives birth to her first child. I deal with data such as what is found at the United Nations Human Development Index, or the UNHDI, as well as the World Factbook page of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. Okay? The UNHDI, for those who may not know, is a ranking of all of the world's nations according to how the average citizens are thriving within each nation. It measures things such as the average citizens' level of education, their overall lifespan, access to healthcare, and opportunities to thrive within their lifetime. The more higher the ranking on the UNHDI, the more healthier, wealthier, educated, and longer living the citizens tend to be. The opposite is true as well. The World CIA Factbook, according to its website, provides basic intelligence on the history, the people, the economy, the geography, the infrastructure, their internal services, and so forth, and transnational issues for the world's nations and various territories. One of the listings in the CIA Factbook is known as the mean, or basically the average age of first-time mothers within different nations. So while doing some research, I began to see a pattern emerge, which is what I want to share with you. Let's look at the top 5 ranking nations on the UNHDI, along with the average ages of their first-time mothers within the nations. So number 1 on the UNHDI is Switzerland. And in Switzerland, the average age of first-time mothers is around 31.1 years old. Norway, number 2, is 29.8 years. Iceland ranks number 3. They're at 28.7 years. Hong Kong is number 4, and Hong Kong is at 29.8 years on average. Australia is 28.7 years on average. So the top 5 nations on the UNHDI tend to be closer or even above the age of 30 in the case of Switzerland, as far as the citizens being wealthier, more educated, having access to health care, being able to thrive in their respective nations. Okay, so now let's take a look at the UNHDI rankings of North American nations, Canada, the US, and Mexico. Okay, Canada ranks number 15 on the UNHDI. And the average age of a first-time mother in Canada is about 29.4 years old. So see, like Switzerland, like Norway, Canada is closer to 30. And they also rank higher on the UNHDI, even higher than the United States, which is ranked at number 21. And the average age at birth of a first-time mom is 27 years. The first 5 nations on the UNHDI, all of them are above 28 years old, with Australia and Iceland tying at 28.7. So they're closer to 29 years old. The US is at 27 years old. Mexico is ranked number 86 on the UNHDI, and the average age at the time of birth for mothers in Mexico, according to the CIA, is 25.2 years old. Okay? So with that in mind, let's take a look at some of the nations that are being frequented by the passport bros. The Dominican Republic ranks number 80 on the UNHDI, and the average age at birth of first-time mothers is 20.9 years old. Colombia ranks number 88 on the UNHDI, and the average age of a mother who gives birth for the first time is 21.7 years old. Another place that they like to talk about is the Philippines, which ranks number 116 on the UNHDI, and the average age of a first-time mom when she gives birth is 23.6 years old. So the average age of mothers who give birth for the first time in at least these few nations that the passport bros like to go to are all under the age of 25, according to the CIA fact book. Now let's take a look at nations that rank towards the bottom of the UNHDI. Niger is ranking at number 189 on the UNHDI. According to the CIA fact book, the average age of a woman who gives birth for the first time in Niger is only 18.1 years old. Now, bear in mind how you gather an average. So that means that if 18.1 is the average age, there are some who are older, but there are also some who are younger. Okay? Niger has a history of having the most child brides. This is a clip of a 13-year-old girl named Mariama and her mother in Niger. This is the second time during this video that her mother attempted to marry her off, and the authorities intervened to rescue Mariama. It's in French with subtitles, but for those who are listening in, it is basically stating that child marriage has deep cultural roots in Niger, where at the time this video was filmed, 75% of girls were married before they turned age 18. Mariama's own mother was married at the age of 10.
Giro kangine he gandi ay sinde kal giri way kangine he gandi kangay gogi di albaradi ne mi lay babani ingay bombo Mariama berin de nga bere kam berin di kulu Mariama berin da kangine he amma kulu gogo ha goyda gogo hay goyda kali duiza taki way barahin zal barfo.
Il s'agit d'une patiente âgée de 15 ans qui nous a été référée ici pour un fistule obstétrical. Elle a fait un long travail d'accouchement, 3 jours comme ça.
And as we're speaking, Niger is embroiled in political turmoil. Okay? Chad is number 190. And according to the CIA, the average age of a woman who gives birth for the first time in Chad is also 18.1 years old. South Sudan ranks number 191. And unfortunately, there wasn't anything in the CIA fact book about South Sudan. They are currently embroiled in a civil war, a very violent one. And if the trend or the correlation is there, let's just say South Sudan is at 18. Okay? So what you are seeing is that the nations where the first-time mothers are older at the time that they give birth, they tend to rank higher on the UNHDI, especially if those mothers are above the age of 25. This means that the average citizens in those nations tend to be healthier, wealthier, more educated, and live longer when compared to lower-ranking nations. Additionally, nations with older first-time mothers tend to have a higher degree of political and economic stability as well. By comparison, the nations where the average first-time mothers are younger than 25, especially if they are closer to 21 or even younger, they tend to rank lower on the United Nations Human Development Index. This means that the average citizens within those nations tend to be poor, they tend to be less educated, they are perishing from treatable illnesses, and they tend to have shortened lifespans. As a result, lower ranking nations tend to unfortunately be less politically stable. They also tend to have what's known as negative net migrations, which basically means that there are more people moving away from those nations than there are people migrating into them. I wanted to show you all this because women are often pressured to have children younger in life. But the data is showing nations with average first-time mothers above the age of 25 or even closer to 30 have a strong correlation of people living better, living longer, being more knowledgeable, and having more opportunity to thrive than is the case when the mothers are younger. Now, before I go any further, this is by no means what I'm saying is not meant to malign young mothers at all. Far from it. And definitely on the contrary, I think that what is happening in today's world regarding dating, marriage, mating, and procreating is that women with the exposure to education and the ability to make executive decisions in their lives are actually creating healthier societies, and these numbers are showing that. What we have been seeing for the past several years is the social growing pains of shedding the very toxic patriarchy that has been the norm for thousands of years, and its engine is still running on fumes, but soon it will go kaput, it will give out, and go the way of the dinosaurs. The outcome will eventually mean healthier, wealthier, and more educated societies that live longer and are politically and economically more stable. Now, I know that no one place on Earth is utopia. There's no one perfect place on the planet that's free from crime and chaos. So what we're looking at are correlations and tendencies according to economics and according to an organization that tracks what's happening abroad and its potential impact on security here within the nation. I know that the manosphere has been mourning a privilege that they were raised from one generation to the other to hold near and dear, which is why many of them like to advocate for marrying 18-year-olds who are at the beginning stages of living independently as legal adults. However, they are still developing into their sense of self, understanding their shadow self, which requires a lot of internal focus. In terms of developed nations, most women who are 18 years old, 19 years old, are entering college and are focused on acquiring a higher education, which enables them to become more self-sufficient and able to make executive decisions within their own lives. However, the manosphere believes that through the process of controlling and dominating an 18-year-old, as an example, an 18-year-old woman, into his beliefs about life and about who she is as a woman in his eyes, that she will become his ideal woman. The manosphere is also claiming that feminism or advocacy for gender equality and gender equity is the reason for their diminishing male privilege, which is why they are advocating for marrying 18-year-olds and dominating them as a remedy to feminism, so they think, and as a way to assert their male dominance because they're feeling like a lack of male dominance in the toxic patriarchal way is the reason for some of the issues that we're seeing today. Yet, when we research this data, the numbers are showing that the outcome of such practices lead to nations where the citizens pay the cost in the form of shorter lifespans, where organ harvesting happens in higher numbers, along with political and religious extremism. Not only that, toxic patriarchy is the reason for the global woman shortage. So right now, the world is in a corrective phase that appears in the form of contracting economies or economies that are becoming smaller and falling birth rates. And that's on the surface. You see, the reality is that women are collectively waiting until a more suitable age to marry and have children, and that is for those women who desire to do so. Now, the numbers from both the UN and the CIA are showing favor for women who delay childbirth until later in life, live in nations where there are programs which make it easier for families to have access to daycare, healthcare, schools, and flexible work schedules. So, ladies and the gentlemen who are abused by males that call you simps for siding with us, listen, what these numbers are showing are that you should go ahead and hold the line. Hold the line fiercely, because the numbers are showing that our strategy is a winning one, which leads to more cooperative societies with less stress and more enjoyment. That's all I have to say for now. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click on the notifications bell so you'll know whenever I upload any new content. Take care until next time.